Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Awaken the World. Today we present our Awaken Sunday live Q&A live on the Awaken the World YouTube channel. Today is Sunday, July 1st at 1 p.m. PST. Can you shut your volume off, please? Sorry about that. Kelly had her volume on and I just asked her to shut it off, so we shouldn't have that in the background. Hello, Jennifer. Nice to see you again. So, looking for some feedback from this morning's meditation. I personally love the state I get in. I really do. Kelly's struggling a tiny bit because she has her headphones on and she hears me kind of like now, and then she hears me echoed in her headphones after the fact. So that, can take away a little bit from it. She was interested in hearing the music, and that was Kelly's music, just so you're all aware. I asked Kelly to compose a couple of soft little pieces that we could add to the meditation. So we hope the meditation served, and we hope you're willing to come back to the seat again and again and again. And we're gonna talk more about that again today. And the reason we are is it is so important. It's just more important than you can possibly believe. Today we have a series of questions that were asked by some group members, and these questions are in alignment with people who are trying to wake up and with people who are trying to get by with the issues in their lives. And these are the sort of questions we want to deal with. Kelly and I had a discussion on it, and the fluff stuff is a lot of fun. It really is. But it is just fluff. And every once in a while we'll come back to fluff, for sure. Because fluff is fun. But we really want to focus on those things which are causing people to suffer, causing people to not maintain their level of awareness, and work with people to help raise that consciousness. Because as I've said many times before, the very best gift that you give to us all is your conscious awakening. Because in your conscious awakening, you will express your gifts more freely, more openly, more joyfully, and more fully, a lot of fullies, than you would when you're asleep. And this is why conscious awakening is so important. And yeah, I love Kelly's music too. I just mentioned it to her yesterday. I kind of said, this is kind of what I want. And she produced just like that. It was amazing. So we're going to start with more on love, and this came from a group member who was asking some questions again on love. And hello, Anna. Nice to see you too. Great. Yeah, I saw the comment that you were going to be making for the live. That's just fantastic. So again, I hope everyone benefited from the meditation this morning, and I do look forward to seeing some comments on it, and we will continue to grow our meditative practices. We will continue to grow the number of live meditation sessions. So you can participate live or go back through the list. If you need help with a particular issue that's addressed in the meditation, you can use them for that end as well. There was a post that I believe actually Jennifer, or I think it was you, Jennifer, had put up regarding Osho. And it was talking about something that I've talked about before. And that is, love is not. This is the thing, okay? When it comes to love, we have a mind definition of love. And that definition is based on everything that we've been told, everything that we've heard from others, everything that we've read, our own experiences with it, and we come up one way or another with a definition of love in our heads. Now, this head definition of love, Osho says that is not real, and it is true. It is not real. It is a concept. But we have to be clear. Having your own concept of love is perfectly okay. It really is. The actual experience of the label of love is beyond the label. It is a sublime experience that exists beyond words, beyond thought words, beyond the thinking mind. Love is that natural uprising that occurs before thought, when we see someone else that we need to help or care for, or we recognize in ourselves and in others that divine. That love will rise spontaneously and naturally. Seeking it outside of ourselves is always a big issue with people, okay? When we always feel that we're not complete and we're not whole and that we are not experiencing love, and we think we need someone else to have the experience of love. That's simply not true. You are in your own being, in your wholeness and oneness of being, full of the true love, full of that silent space, full of that experiencer. That is the love that resides within us. That is that higher self that resides within it. And no love outside of that will ever be able to measure up to the love resident within your own being that's available to you at all times. And you know, people say, well, how do I feel that love? How do I experience that love? How do I make that love active in my existence? And it starts with you. It starts with loving yourself fully. No matter what anyone else tells you is wrong, no matter what you may perceive is wrong with you, it's a lie. There's nothing wrong with you. You may have some misunderstandings about life. You may have a little bit of confusion about your journey. But there is nothing wrong with you. And you must love yourself first, wholly, honestly, openly. You know, as we talked about in the meditation this morning, one of the greatest things we can do to help heal ourselves is to love what we would try to remove from ourselves. And we do this all the time. You know, my back aches, and you know, I'll make a comment, I hate my back. And I'll do it unconsciously. And I catch myself. I'll catch myself and I'll go, whoa, wait a minute. What sort of energy, what sort of vibrational state, what sort of thing am I saying to my being when I say that? And I will immediately correct myself and say, no, I don't like the pain, but I love my back. I love what my back does for me. I love the awareness that comes in with my back and the way it will hum in pain if I try to bend the wrong way. You know, all those things can be seen as loving gifts from that body consciousness, saying to us over and over again, pay attention, allow this to heal, look closely. What does it mean to love yourself? It means to put yourself and the way you feel and the way you think first and foremost. Now, how do we apply this in the real world? What it means is, and you know, I will do this to Kelly on occasion, sometimes just to see where she's at. You know, she'll be talking about something she wants to do, and I'll insert one casual negative comment about it. And then I will look and see what happens to her. And more over the years, I've noticed that instead of immediately her energy dying on her and she sits there in the comment that is not in line with what she's thinking, now it's barely a blip. She'll see the blip now, and then she'll go back to herself. She'll go back to that mindset that she wishes to hold. This is what it really means to love yourself. It means to value your mind and where your mind is at, and your being and where your being is at above everything else. Now, people may say that sounds really selfish. You want me to care for myself 100%, first and foremost, all the time. And I do. You know, I've learned this lesson the hard way. When you don't, the energy that you are begins to drain. And the more you're trying to care for others, the more the draining occurs. Until one day, you are no longer capable of caring for others. And oftentimes, you can't care for yourself anymore either. Looking after your being, caring more about the way you feel and the way you think than the people around you is of paramount importance. It really is. Stand in the strength of your being. Stand in the love of the divine that lives within you, even if you can't feel it. You know, oftentimes we're so hard on our bodies and we're so rough on our bodies, and we never actually take the time to consciously examine each part of it, understand what it does for us, and consciously love ourselves. Love that knee that aches. Love the back that causes you problems. Love the pain that you may have through fibromyalgia or through any other disease. Allow yourself to love it. You know, it doesn't mean you like the pain, but love the being. Love the experience of your existence, even when it seems almost impossible to do. This is the greatest thing we can do to move ourselves towards actually feeling that love. Now, that's a really tough one because people say, well, what does love feel like? And the only answer I can give you is this. When you're feeling true love, there will be no thoughts in your head and just compassionate action. You will simply flow from that compassionate, loving place of being. You will flow for yourself and you will flow for others. Mind or ego love is not love. It's not. It looks like love on the surface, but what it is, it's actually a trade. Excuse me. And that trade is actually really simple, and we do it all the time. We perceive something we're missing. And we perceive someone who may fulfill that for us. So we say, well, I love you because you're giving me what I need. But what we really mean is, I trade you. I'll trade you this and you trade me that. You get what you want, I get what I want. And everyone's happy. But that's not really love. And the reason being is sooner or later, that other person, yes, actually, most relationships are an egoic trade. You know, if you need any proof of that, just look at the divorce rates and the number of couples who are cheating on each other. This is the definition of love that we have entrenched in our being. And our media and so many other outlets in our society do everything to teach you that you're not whole, you're not complete, that you need someone else to be complete. And it's not true. You are a complete and whole, powerful spiritual being in your own right. How do you find that love within? Silence, meditation, actively caring for yourself, actively caring for your being. You know, I wasn't big on The Secret, the movie or the book, because even though they pointed to some truths, the entirety of it was focused on getting what you want. And that doesn't work, and we've explained why that doesn't work. But the one part of The Secret, the one part that I agreed with 100%, was the woman sitting there writing hearts and love on herself. Loving her being. Looking in the mirror and loving it all. Loving the expression that you have chosen in this lifetime. Seeing no things in yourself that you would not love. Allowing yourself to love it all as the mother would love a child, as the guru loves the student, as that sea of consciousness loves all of us. This is the true path towards love. Nothing you can write about. Body needs. Well, bodily needs, outside of food and, if you're talking about sex and love are really not related. You know, I mean, people would like to think so, okay? But the reality of it is this. Sex as an act of procreation is part of nature. We naturally want to procreate. We naturally enjoy that closeness, the way the rest of the universe seems to disappear during the experience. And it gives us the opportunity to bring in new life into the world. But there are no need and no needs for that sexual experience. They're not. Those are a production of mind. They really are. I spent 22 years celibate. And I have to say, in that 22-year period of time, that I really found that not releasing that energy, but holding that energy of being and allowing that energy of being to stay within the vessel here was much more advantageous than simply giving it away. When we go out looking to be near someone else, when we're talking about body needs, what we're often talking about is that feeling of closeness that we feel we're missing. And, honestly, when I talk about it frankly, I exist in a state of closeness. Closeness with Kelly, whether she's near or far. Closeness with my Creator, with that sea of consciousness. There is nothing outside of me that can add to that. And there's nothing outside of me that can take away. So if you're in a position where you are finding yourself feeling unloved, or you wish you had someone in your life to love, my answer is this: there is someone in your life to love. And that someone is you. And when you can fall in love totally with yourself, when you can fall so in love with the being that you are and the divinity that you come from, then you will become whole. And the person you seek will come into your life naturally as a shining light that is drawn to your shining light. You see, in love, it's very easy to forget that like attracts like. So if we're feeling needy and we're feeling empty inside, we're going to attract other people who are needy and empty. And we are going to try to take from them to fill ourselves, and they're going to try to take from us to fill themselves. Love is not about taking. Love is about giving of the abundance from within. It truly is. So when it comes to love, I'm going to say this to most people. Put the concept of a partner, if you don't have one and you're looking for one or you're wishing for one, put that concept behind you for a while. Concentrate on loving the being you are. Concentrate on fully falling in love with yourself in every way. And through that, and in that growth and in that strength that you will begin to exhibit through loving yourself, you will find that the right type of people start frequenting your existence. The type of people who are also loved, who are also cared for. This is the truth of it. Do not try to go out there clinging to someone else in order to get something you perceive from them. The dysfunction is built into that and will manifest. And soon the feeling you look for that you think is making you happy will end up causing you pain. And that pain will go on and on and on until you finally understand that you had to start by loving yourself first. And that's what I wish for all of you, is that you find the love within you for you. And trust me on this one, when that love reaches the right point of being, it is sufficient. And then all you wish to do is share it. All you wish to do is spread it around. You won't be looking for someone to fill a hole. You won't be looking to fill other people's holes. You will simply be a tidal wave of love that washes over all of those around you and helps lift their being. That is the gift when you truly love yourself, which is where we all have to start. The second question that was brought up was about the guru within. And, the conversation that I received via Messenger was talking about these gurus and, people who charge $10,000 an hour and thousands of dollars a visit. And the person had made a comment that, that they were almost drawn by their arrogance that they could try and charge so much. And I would like to turn that around a little bit, okay? The reason these so-called gurus and spiritual teachers charge so much is because of greed. I do this for free. And I'm not saying, look at me, I do this for free and they're charging. What I'm saying is this. The gift of being able to teach is a gift that the students are giving you. In India, when you run into a true guru, that guru is like your mother and father and teacher all rolled up into one. They care for you on every level. They provide for you on every level. And their only goal is your spiritual realization. And they love you on a very deep, very honest level of being. That is the true guru. My opinion of people who would charge you thousands of dollars, my opinion of people who would extort money on the idea that they are somehow going to save you, that they have something that you don't have, it's a crock. Please stay away from those sort of people. You have within you everything you needed the moment you were born into this world. The entirety of your being came here whole, powerful, prepared. There is nothing that anyone can give to you that is going to make you any better than what you are. And there is nothing anyone can take from you that's going to make you any more whole than you already are, or take away from that wholeness. Yeah, and this is it. As Anna says, she was reading a book on real love today about self-love, and this is really it. If we cannot love ourselves wholly and honestly and openly, we go grasping for that love outside of ourselves. And that always leads to dysfunction, because once we grasp it, we cling. And we don't want to let go, even when things are beginning to become dysfunctional. Real love, true love, is within. And that is the same place that guru is. The guru who loves you wholly, the guru who is your mother and father and teacher, resides within your being and will never charge you a cent. Meditation and various antidotes to this silence and awareness that we must obtain in order to communicate properly, in order to hear the voice of our guru. Meditation comes in many forms, and I cannot stress enough the importance of meditating every day in every way. And traditionally, we see people sitting on a seat, thumb and forefinger in a circle, 3 fingers out, or hands clasped in the lap, eyes closed. And we define that as meditating. You can also meditate washing the dishes. You can also meditate while you're walking. Any activity where you're engaging yourself now, totally, 100%, presently, right here, right now, becomes a meditation. When you focus on what you're doing and you give it 100% of your being, you are entering that meditative state, that state of one-pointedness, one focus, and over time, a stillness within. And this is what we're looking for. How do we access that guru within? How do we get in contact with that guru? Okay, the easiest way is allow your life to unfold. To quit trying to drive the car. And I use this analogy over and over again, especially with Kelly. You are literally saying to the universe, take my life. It's always been yours anyways. I understand that now. Guide my life as you see fit. Bring to me those things which you know serve me. And then let go of that wheel so that that sea of consciousness can plop itself into the driver's seat. But we tend not to do that. We tend to say those things and then we hold on to the wheel anyways. And even though our higher selves is trying to drive us off the road and out into a field somewhere, we're looking at the road and we're going, no, we got to be going down this road. This is where the car is supposed to be. Let go of the wheel. Allow life to unfold. Allow the life that you are to express itself naturally and openly. You know, Kelly asked me last night, well, what about desires? Aren't some desires good to have? And I said to her, there's only one desire that I carry in my being. And that desire is to serve that sea of consciousness. To surrender always to that sea of consciousness. To surrender to whatever that sea of consciousness would bring me. Why? Because my faith says that that sea of consciousness will only bring me that which serves. No problems, just puzzles. No issues, just experience. And when you begin to view life that way, you can have a sense of joyful expectation at the next grand adventure, at the next way life is going to express itself through you. Or how God needs you to stand in its place today with another one of God's children. This is how we access that guru. You know, you'll hear people say a lot of times, well, I trust my gut. And that's another thing we're talking about. We're talking about that intuitive vibration within our being that before we've even thought about it, when we know something isn't quite right, or we know something is very right. As I've said before, you have this amazing body intelligence that lives in a total state of truth at all times. Your body will never, ever, ever lie to you. Your body's energy field will always report to you the goings-on of yourself. And it does so naturally. It does so normally. Why? So that you can catch on. So that you can become aware of the cues and the signs and the path that your own inner guru has laid out before you. Now, there's people who's going to say, well, what happens if I fall off the path? What happens if I'm not walking down the right way? What happens if I miss a sign? Here's the beautiful thing about the universe. It is constantly self-adjusting itself. There is nothing you can do here to screw any of creation up. Nothing. There's nothing you can do here that is going to lead to your failure in this life. And I understand it can be hard when we look at someone dying on the street of starvation and we say, well, clearly their life has been a failure. Not so. You know, years ago, there was a young woman with Down syndrome who graduated high school. And a lot of people didn't believe she was going to graduate. You know, but I realized in sitting back and watching her that this soul that had incarnated here with the intent of living this experience was teaching all of us. Through this girl's actions, through this girl's mode of being, her innocence, we are all taught. When we see those who do not appear to be in the greatest of physical shape or are afflicted with some sort of disease, what society would call something wrong with them, look deeper. There is a joyous message hiding there for each of us. You see, I've come to understand that no matter what comes into your field of awareness, there's a reason for it. If you're made aware of it in any way, there's something there for you. This is how the Guru within operates. And all as that Guru wishes for you is for you to pay attention. Pay enough attention to read the signs, to get the messages. And we do that through that place of silence within. Start a conversation with your higher being. Start a conversation with that Guru. And a lot of people say to me, okay, well, how do you do that? How do you start a conversation with your higher self? And you know, there's a lot of really great ways to begin that. They don't all have to be talking. You know, you can write yourself a letter to your higher self in the evening, and you can leave that letter, read it, and then go to sleep. And then come back to that letter in a day or two and see what messages have already been manifest. But one of the most beautiful ways that I like to start the conversation is by moving the mind out of the way. And we can do that through the use of tarot cards, through the use of the I Ching, through the use of a pendulum, any sort of device where we find ourselves able to concentrate on the device and let ourselves stay open to that higher message. All these tools, whether they're rune stones, tarot cards, angel cards, the I Ching, a pencil on a string, all of these are tools that bypass the conscious mind and allow us to connect directly to the higher being within us. And it is a great place to start the conversation. You know, I've had profound results using the I Ching, and it is a very difficult text to wrap your head around, but angel cards are fantastic. Kelly has some angel cards and she really enjoys them. Find what works for you. There is never an issue in using a tool to help bring that focus. And over time, you're going to find that you no longer need the tool. That your higher being will communicate more and more easily. And you will become more and more receptive to the messages. The only thing it requires is an ounce of faith to know that that inner Guru is always there, always smiling within lovingly, always sending you messages, always waiting to reach out and lift you back up. The third question that we had on the question list today had to do with guides and angels. And, you know, I got to tell you, Fred, Wilma, Buddha, Christ, doesn't really matter. They're all labels. Angel, again, a label. What we are talking about is manifestations of the guide. All manifestations of that one sea of consciousness. Manifesting exactly as we need, exactly how we can relate to. And bringing to us the messages and the guidance that we feel we need. And people say, well, I don't know who my guides are, and I haven't met my guardian angels. And of course, we all get this picture of a guardian angel, you know, white, a little gold chain maybe, and big flappy wings, little halo on top of the head. It doesn't matter what your guide manifests as. That guide is that sea of consciousness. That guide is your higher being coming to you in the manner that most suits your egoic sense of self. Coming to you in the way that you will most easily be able to relate and interpret what that guide has to say. And I've heard a lot of people talk about, well, you know, the Archangel Michael and this and that. Again, they're all labels. The same as Garhen is a label. The same as Kelly is a label. It is all that sea of consciousness. It is the guide who comes to your door. It is the guide who manifests in your thoughts and in your words and in that higher place in states of meditation. Medication. Yeah, they're actually pretty close. Beware trading dollars for spiritual favors, okay? There's a lot of people out there who will say, well, I can get your angels to come and talk to you. I can get your guides to come and talk to you. Or I can, go to the council and plead your case before the spiritual council. But it's going to cost you. You need to know today that no voice goes unheard. There is not a single being on the planet that cries out to their higher selves, to their version of God, that sea of consciousness. And that sea of consciousness hears, and that sea of consciousness responds. Even before we have asked, the true needs of our being have already been fulfilled. The answers are already manifesting themselves. It's the blinders we wear. I threw a post up there today, and it was literally thousands of sheep, and there was no fence line. All these sheep being held back, funneled through the gate. What gate? The gate of their mind. Even though there was no fence holding them in, even though they were not trapped and contained as they thought themselves to be, in their minds, the presence of that gate was the only exit. We tend to behave the same way in our egoic selves. We don't understand that in our limited awareness, we can only see the gate. We don't understand that there never was a fence separating us from that other side. You don't have to wait and push and shove and get through the gate. You simply have to realize that there are no fences. That the key to the prison that you constructed yourself, called your ego, is hanging around your own neck. No need to try and get someone else to help you escape. No need to rely on someone else to pull you out of where you perceive you are. The key to everything is with you. It's right here around your neck. It resides in your heart. It resides in this entirety of your being. So when you're looking for guides, it was a great photo, hey, and really indicative of the way we behave as a species. That's egoic behavior in a nutshell. No fence, but we all have to go through the gate. When you're looking for your guides and angels, the best way to come in contact with them is, number one, first and foremost, is understand and believe, have faith that those guides, those angels are there for you at all times, whether they appear to be present or not. Whether they're communicating directly or not, they are there. They are communicating with you. Give them any names you want. See them as anything you want. But make sure you understand that all of those guides are that sea of consciousness. All of those manifestations are the manifestation. The one manifestation. Every day, time and time again, in a myriad of ways, thousands upon thousands of times a day, God steps out and meets God eye to eye. This is the truth of our existence. This is the truth of our being and who we truly are. This is what we are part and parcel of. You can never walk alone. It is impossible to walk alone. And as a matter of fact, the more time you spend alone, the more you realize that you can never, ever be alone. that higher being within you, that guru within, that inner guide is always there, always loving you, always holding you, always comforting you. Allow it. Let go of your preconceptions. Let go of your expectations. Let go of any idea that you are not worthy enough or don't deserve divine guidance, because your entire life is designed around and full of that divine guidance in every way. It truly is. Well, that's right, honey. Let go, and then let go again. This plays right into ego again, and I see so much of this. And again, this was brought up by another one of our group members. And they talked about, this whole thing about seeking bliss all the time and the big lie. Let me tell you, if you think you need to go seek bliss, you really got to deal with your ego. You really got to deal with your egoic sense of self. And there's a very good reason for that. You see, your life already is blissful. Your life already is full. Your life is already complete. Before you were born, you charted this course. And after you die, you will chart a new course yet again. Over and over and over again, through conscious evolution, conscious awakening of being. If you're seeking bliss today, you suffer from a fundamental misunderstanding of your existence. And it's okay. But you have to understand that. You have to realize it. People who go out seeking bliss all the time do so because they feel their day-to-day existence is not blissful, is not full, is not complete. So again, they go outside of themselves looking for something. You can never find something outside of yourself. Hon, do you mind shutting that door, please? Sorry, we have Canada Day celebrations going on about a kilometer away, and you can hear the music right out of our balcony. we don't participate, okay, in that, and the reason being is the whole idea of nationalistic separation that it brings about, and we cannot support that. Satori versus thought bliss. Okay, there's lots of thought bliss or ego bliss out there, and it's quite fleeting and it disappears really fast. An example would be getting a new car. Well, that'll give you a good old shot of thought bliss. You know, you're going to be thinking happy thoughts about that car, and you're going to generate happy feelings, and you're going to feel thought bliss. There's an issue with thought bliss, though. Thought bliss never lasts. It's transient, just like everything else in this world. It is bound to come, and it is bound to go, and it is bound to change. And this is what I meant about getting caught up in the sad and the happy. You don't really want to get caught up in either one. You want to understand that in one lies the seeds of the other, and in the other lies the seeds of the other one. This is the truth of our existence. And when you come to a more still, more centered, central middle road with your being, you will begin to have the opportunity to experience the bliss of Satori. Now, you know, there's been a lot of talk about what that really means. And for now, let's just say, do you know that feeling you get at the end of your meditation? That's exactly right. This too shall pass. Nail on the head. And it doesn't matter whether it's good or bad in our perception, it's going to pass. It's going to change. That's the reality of our existence. Life in this relative world is change. No change, no life, no existence. That state of being you feel at the end of the meditation, that open spaciousness, that whole body experience of being right here right now, centered in your being, that is the doorway to the true bliss of being. The true bliss of being in constant, harmonious communication and alignment with your higher self. How do you get there? Really simple. Gratitude. That's it. Gratitude for everything. Gratitude for the pain. Gratitude for the suffering. Gratitude for anything that you judge good, bad, or otherwise. Gratitude for it all. And if you cannot look at what you see in front of you right now and have gratitude for it, imagine how much worse it could be and have gratitude that you're only experiencing it to the level you are experiencing it. You know, this gratitude is a fundamental part of our being. And we come from this place because we understand that the entirety of creation is all about sacrifice, all about surrendering. You know, we talked about the sun surrendering its light and heat to warm our planet. We talk about the clouds sacrificing their rain so that we may have food. We talk about the plants and the animals, the fish of the sea, all these things that sacrifice and surrender to themselves. As we sacrifice and surrender ourselves for each other every day across the globe in so many ways. Gratitude will bring you to that point of bliss, true bliss, everlasting bliss, the bliss of the knowledge that your being will never die, has never been born, and is here having an experience. A blessed, blessed experience. Keeping that in mind when I was living on the street was hard, I have to admit. You know, when you would see other people engaged in their addictions and suffering, it was difficult sometimes to sit there in a state of gratitude. But with a little practice, you can see the good, the growth, the evolution underlying everything. And this is where that gratitude comes from. So again, how do you get there? Gratitude, thankfulness. That's it. You're fooling yourself, you know, if you are talking that you've dropped your judgments and are talking that everything is just peachy and that you're feeling the gravy, but inside you're not. You know, and I've seen a number of people in our group and outside of the group who will post how they're totally okay and totally good with whatever's going on, and then below that begins the complaints. Well, you know, this issue, that issue, this issue. All issues stem from us. All of these things stem from ourselves. As long as you are looking outside of yourself for the source of the issue, you're fooling yourself. And not only you're fooling yourself, you're giving away all your power to the issue and whoever you perceive is causing that issue. Yeah, that's exactly it, right? We go from peachy and happy into the depth of our this is not good, and then back up again, right? We end up riding the waves and trough of life like this. You know, our high moments and our low moments. Now, you know, that's okay too. Until you get to that place where you can be grateful for everything. Allow yourself to fully experience the highs and what you would perceive as the lows. And when you hit those lows, look carefully. Don't fool yourself. Look deeper. See the egoic identification and attachment that's causing the issue. And you know, as I said, Kelly's oldest son was married on Friday. And of course, Kelly received no invitation. She received no communication at all. It was like she didn't even exist. And no matter what she says, I know that that hurt her. I know that she had a hard time feeling gratitude for that. Why was she not able to let it go? Ego identification and attachment to the role. You know, part of Kelly is the suffering mother who's been abandoned by her children. And to give up that identity would mean not knowing what you are anymore. So even though that identity causes pain, you'll try and hold on to that false sense of self. Because you figure that the pain is worth it for the reward you perceive may come one day. And in Kelly's case, the reward, of course, is that she's hoping one day her children will wake up, their consciousness will rise up, and they will come back freely to see her. And I hope for that day too. But I will not get stuck that that day is going to happen in this life or the next. Let go of your expectations. Let go of your identification with the roles, with your sense of self, with your sense of who you're supposed to be, and the attachments to those around you. Stop fooling yourself and just allow yourself to live in that place of gratitude. When you can smile and thank the person who heaps a problem on top of you, you've reached the spot where gratitude begins to exercise its full power. When you live in a state of gratitude, you no longer think with the monkey mind, clinging and grasping, looking for solutions, looking for ways out. You instead look upon what you perceive in front of you with a joyful expectation that there is a gift. There is an evolvement, an evolution for you, a growth, an awakening available right here, right now, in what you perceive. And that will fundamentally change the way you look upon things and will fundamentally change the way you deal with things. And you will find over time that your life begins to flow smoother and smoother and smoother. All just through living from a state of constant gratitude for whatever comes into your field of vision, for whatever comes into your awareness. Be it a person, an event, or a situation, have gratefulness and thankfulness for it. Feelings versus emotions, and this keeps coming up, and I will keep coming back to deal with this because, you know, in my estimation, if there's one message that will change your existence outside of gratitude, this is it. Now, this, you know, we have to pay really, really close attention here because these two words are bandied about and misused by so many people over and over and over again, and it gets really confusing. One is an alarm indicator. Those are called feelings. Feelings are a product of your mind. And that is the only thing they are a product of. And now I'm not talking about feeling the poke of a rose thorn. Okay? That is a sensation. And that is different still. What we're talking about are feelings. Feelings come from the way we are thinking. If you think happy thoughts, you will experience happy perceptions about your thoughts. We call those feelings. You see, your body lives in that state of perfect alignment, perfect harmony, because it is being manifested by your higher self, within that higher self that you are. And it will tell you immediately, as a course of nature, where your mind is at. If you're feeling negative, if you're feeling any negative feeling states like sadness, anger, depression, you're feeling lost, lonely, afraid, All of these things are no more than alarm bells from the body to say, wait a minute, you're lying to yourself. Your thinking is not on track with universal truth. These feelings offer us an opportunity when we recognize them not to dive into the feelings because there's no need, but to instead dive into what we were thinking about. To instead see the lies that we sell ourselves in our own minds, and to use that body intelligence to alert us when our thoughts are both out of alignment and in alignment. Because, of course, when your thoughts are in alignment with your higher self, you're going to feel happy. You're going to vibrate more joyfully. You're going to feel more energetic. You're going to literally feel the yes that your body's telling you about your thought processes. In the same way that we feel that no, that we're going in the wrong direction. And the sooner we catch ourselves, the easier it is to pull ourselves right back out of that state of being. You know, there's people that will say, well, I get lost in depression. And you're not lost in depression. You're lost in your own head, thinking about things that your body manifests the feeling that you interpret as depression. And the reason why your body is manifesting that feeling is because your body knows that your head is lying to itself. You're trying to pull your own self down. Your body knows so much better. Emotions are part of nature. Emotions rise from within, not because of thought processes, but they simply arise as a natural part of nature. Now that can be really difficult to understand. You know, most of the ideas that we think are love are actually a feeling that we generate because of our thoughts. You know, the person does what we want. The person's reacting the way they want. They're fulfilling the role that we want. So we feel we love them. But that's not really what's happening here. Emotions, which include such things as true love, deep, deep universal love, compassion, a desire to sacrifice oneself without even thought in order to protect another. All of these are part of nature. These emotions, they are energetic motion drivers. They rise within us, and then perhaps the mind interprets, but more often than not, we just find ourselves engaging in action. When a mother leaps to grab the child who's fallen to the pavement after coming off of the bike, that isn't a feeling. There's been no thought. It is an energetic motive emotion that rises from within, part of nature itself, separate from our thinking mind, not attached to our thinking mind. This is why we can have these spontaneous upwellings of pure joy, pure love, pure compassion for each other. When we feel these uprisings, action is part and parcel of the course. They are emotive. They are verb, not noun. They encourage us to take an action, and that action comes from a higher state of being. Now, sure, you can start to think about that too much, and you can queer it before you've actually gone ahead and done it. But if you allow yourself to stay open, you will find that when these emotions arise within our being, and they do naturally, we do not conjure them. We do not call them into being. Anything we call into being, we do so through the thought processes, and they are feelings. They are the body responding to the resonant vibration we are producing through our thoughts. Emotions are natural upwellings. And when we allow them just to come and flow through their being, enlightened action is what occurs. whether it's pulling a child to safety, or jumping into a creek to save a friend, or simply engaging in compassion with someone we don't even know, without reason, without thought, just because that upwelling is there inside of us, that recognition of God in another. The feelings only deserve minimal attention, and you know, this is one of the big ones that I see counselors getting really stuck on with people, you know, never understanding that the reason someone keeps coming back and saying they're sad over and over and over again is because they're thinking sad thoughts. Know when you're lying to yourself. You know, when I'm talking about trusting yourself, I'm talking about trusting that higher self. The ego, the small sense of self, always has to be looked at closely. Look at the thoughts going on. Are your thoughts in alignment with the truth of you as a highly powerful spiritual being, or are your thoughts looking at you as something small? Are your thoughts engaged in the power that you have and that you can manifest here and your desire to give your gift to the world? Or are they engaged in the idea that you have nothing to give and that you have no worth? And you know, ego doesn't care what sort of mask it wears. It'll just as easily wear the mask of a depressed person as it will wear the mask of a happy person. The underlying structure is always that same egoic structure. Letting go of those feelings, recognizing that those feelings are only there to guide what we're thinking, and to pay attention to your thoughts, to become aware of the repetitive programs that are going on and on and on with you, and begin to break those one at a time. How do you break them? Simply by recognizing the way your body is feeling and asking yourself if you want to continue to feel this way. If you don't, you can change that body feeling by changing your thoughts. And this can be hard, okay? So I'm going to give one example here that hopefully will help out. Let's say your state of mind, your thoughts are, I will never see my children again because they hate me. And if you continue on that line of thoughts, you're going to get pretty sad, you're going to get pretty depressed. And as soon as you start feeling bad about the way you're thinking, you can look at that thought and you can say, okay, how do I make this thought into a positive thought that I can still buy into? Because keep in mind, you just bought your own lie. It should be really easy to think of something positive that you can buy into. So in this example, this is more geared for Kelly's case. What I've said to her is, how about you change that to, I know when the time is right, their consciousness will awaken. And then we'll be ready for reunification. I can live happily right now, knowing that everyone is being served in the way they need to be served. Find that thing, that one thought that you can agree with 100% that's in the right positive direction, and you will change the course of your thinking. And again, how does this play in? It plays in again with gratitude and surrender. Instead of getting upset, as I said to Kelly yesterday, I said a lot of people would be very upset where you're at, or you could show gratitude instead. You could say to that sea of consciousness, I am grateful that my children were here with me almost until adulthood. I am grateful that I had 18 years with one of them. I am grateful that I had 17 years with another. I am grateful that I have 16 years and counting with the third. Why? Because I know so many parents don't get that. I am grateful that my children are all alive. I am grateful that at least there's an opportunity for me to see them again. I am grateful that they are out experiencing their own paths and that I prepared them well enough that they appear to have no need for me. In this way, we can change the direction of our thinking and change the direction of how we feel. You know, it really is all about mind when we're here. And the reason being is we all think the mind is us. We don't understand that this whole egoic nature is part and parcel of nature as well. It is not separate from nature. It is part and parcel of it. Most of the thoughts are not our own. Only a very few of them, colored by our existence, are actually our own thoughts. They belong to the collective of ego, and depending on how your receiver is tuned, if you're tuned towards negativity, you're going to receive the bulk of that negativity. If you're tuned towards happier thoughts, towards thoughts that generate positive feelings inside of you, you're going to receive more of those positive thoughts. That's really all we have for today. I wanted to touch base with everyone and provide a little more guidance, a little more gratitude that I feel for all of you. Gratitude that I get the pleasure of being able to share my experiences with you. Gratitude for the ability to help some of you. And if you can stay in this place of gratitude, if you can live in this place of gratitude, you will see your life transform itself. The outside circumstances may not change. It's never about the outside. It's always about what's going on within. Much love. Namaste to you all. I hope we see you next week for our meditations and our live video broadcasts. And I thank you. I hope it did help. I really do. It is my position to serve you. And any way that I can, any way that you need help, let us know. We'll do a video, we'll do a discussion, or we can talk face to face. Have a wonderful Sunday afternoon. If you're here in Canada, enjoy the long weekend. If you're down in the States, make it a long weekend. July 4th is coming soon. Take care. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.